I think when you look at both of those corners, because I think they could go either way. You know, Stingley could go one, depending. It's going to come down to what does a team need. You know, Coach Barrett knows this. I mean, you know, we look at these draft boards and how they slot them. He's the top corner. He's this corner. And all of a sudden, you see a flip flop. This one goes here. The reason being, coaching staffs look at what they want in a certain player: height, strength, speed, quickness, lateral pursuit, press coverage, so on and so forth. And one coach likes certain attributes about a player that another coach goes, it's okay. I love all these things about him, but he's missing this, so let's go this way. With those two corners, I'd be shocked if they're still on the board when the Eagles pick.
Welcome back in, everybody. Sports Take. Hey, I need you all to slam and smash and destroy that like button. Let's go. Let's go. We don't have nearly enough people. Every single one of you. I see you. Easy Money. I see you, Gigi. I see you, Big D, OBX. Everybody. Jeremiah, Big D, John. Let's go. Easy Money. Bam. Slam it. D Gun, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis, JAKIB Media YouTube Network. Each and every day, Monday through Friday, 12 to 3, started talking a lot of football. Figure keep the momentum rolling. Hey, by the way, just an NBA note. We'll talk Sixers in a little bit. Scotty Barnes still doubtful for that game for tomorrow in Toronto for the Raptors. Also, we'll give you the odds of the teams that are still standing to win the NBA title, because they've changed quite a bit with some of the injuries. There's some major injuries in the NBA, man. With Chris Middleton, with Devin Booker. Yes. I mean, unbelievable, like big time impact kind of stuff for sure. So we'll get into that, man.
I'm looking at a comment here, man. People talking about, hey, Eagles trade for a quarterback. Trade what for who?
What for who for what, Ricky?
What do you trade what? I'm not trading draft commodity for what, a veteran? Well, who do you want? Russell Wilson gone. Aaron Rodgers back in Green Bay. Who are you going to trade for?
Look, I'm with you, man. Do they mean trade up to try to get somebody they like, or do they mean somebody who's still, to me, like, who's out there to grab right now in the league, who like currently playing? There's nobody. Look, I was
Chase Daniel.
I want to be his agent's brilliant, by the way, Chase Daniel. That dude's he's not quite made Sam Bradford money, but he's done pretty well for himself.
He's right there. He's right on the cusp. He was making $7 million a year here in Philly when he was a backup.
Yeah,
$7 million.
And Barrett, and to his credit, it's the greatest gig ever. If you get behind durable quarterbacks and you never have to go into games, you can make a ton of money and you walk away from your career without a nick on your body, without a bruise or a cut. It's brilliant, man. God bless you if you can pull it off. No question.
That is the cussest job ever. Like my last 4 years, I backed up, so I really didn't play on Sunday, and I was pissed off because I did everything through the week.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I was still banging and practicing hard. But quarterbacks, they got a red jersey on. All they're doing is throwing the ball every once. And then when you're a backup, you don't throw the ball nearly enough. You're just taking those mental reps from behind, the mental reps. I mean, is that the biggest hustle ever? That is the biggest hustle ever.
And Doug Peterson is one of them. But if you backed up Favre for 7 or Peyton Manning before the neck, those guys never missed a game. Breeze for a long time, never missed a game. If you were the backup to any, and Chase Daniel was with Breeze at one point, I mean, it's the greatest job there is.
Oh my goodness! You know, when you're talking about Chase Daniel and how he's been stealing money forever, you know what the first name that comes to mind? Think about Ty Detmer, Ty and Coy Detmer. How long did they take the league for money, man? Yeah. I mean, how many years? And I'm thinking, and neither one of them were what you could consider a quarterback size. They were skinny guys,
little,
little guys. And I'm thinking, man, they made a killing off of being back.
I give Ty more love than Coy. Ty, at least for a little while, was kind of a starter, but Coy.
Coy whipped out the big stick, though.
Yeah, he did. That Green Bay game.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And then Aaron Rodgers gave it right. No, Brett Favre gave it right back to him.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, all right, I wanted to hit you guys this because I was looking at the Eagles depth chart today, and I wanted to refresh my memory on a couple positions. First of all, they are a very thin team, man. There is not a lot of depth in a lot of spots. But I'm looking at the defensive backfield. Okay. So for right now, as things stand before the draft, you're starting corners. Slay, okay. Maddox in the slot, good. Zach McPherson?
No.
Your safeties are Marcus Epps and Anthony Harris.
No.
I don't think we talk enough about how bad the defensive backfield is here, guys. I mean, we're focused on a lot of things, and rightfully so. You got to be able to get to the quarterback. I get it. You need playmakers at receiver. I get it. You need linebackers. We've been screaming for that forever. But you guys feel good about what's happening with the defensive backfield?
What?
Go, Mr.
Are you
Brooks.
kidding me? I mean, we're talking about way back when we had sports for a defensive coordinator. I've hated the DBs. You know what I mean? And it wasn't as though they were really bad. They just didn't use them. Like, look, Rasul Douglas had some skills, and he's balling in Green Bay.
Yeah.
You look at the Green Goblin. He had some skills also. The only reason he didn't get drafted in like the second or third round is because he had troubles back at LSU. You know what I'm saying? Where he got in some trouble. They've had quality guys there. Sidney Jones just didn't do anything here, but he's balling where he is now.
In Seattle.
They just don't have it was coaching, I guess, but they just never really panned out or had all right, let me change that around. We never had a defensive coordinator to use them the way they need to be used the past 2.5 coaches. Put it like that. Those guys didn't play up to the capabilities. They had Bradley. Bradley was the defensive coordinator. He never played those guys, and they were pretty good cornerbacks. You know, even they were talking about sconces and stuff like that, they were still very feasible starting cornerbacks. They just never used them in the capacity they needed to use them in. Every time we get a defensive coordinator the past couple of years, they have been guys that played off and played too much zone. You can't do that in today's league. You give these quarterbacks an inch, they're going to take a mile, and that's what's going on. They're just not aggressive play callers, and I don't know. McPherson may be okay. If they play him in a system that's more aggressive, maybe he can use that size. Maybe he can run with some guys. But we'll never know because we don't run a system that have these guys play in one of those, all right, I'm going to get in your face and be one of those, shut down type of guys. We don't know if they can shut down because we don't use them that way.
Look, all you need to know is go back to last season when they had Steve Nelson?
Right. Yeah.
Rodney McLeod, Anthony Harris,
and
Darius Slay.
Yeah.
What happened when they played the better offenses in the National Football League?
Killed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now Rodney McLeod's in Indianapolis. Where's Ronald Darby in Denver? Is he in Denver?
He's still playing. Okay. Yeah, he's still.
They're starting balling.
Yeah. Where's Steve Nelson now? Didn't he sign with somebody else?
Was he signed with Indy or was it Texas?
The Texans.
Okay, in Texas. So
2 years, $10 million.
So as much as we're happy to have Reddick here, my priority would have been trying to shore up the back end of that defense, because if your front end's tight and your back end's tight, you can cover up many of the deficiencies you might have at the linebacking situation. But now you still have a glaring hole at linebacker, and you got some serious problems on the back end, because I love Maddox. Don't get me wrong. I love Maddox. I mean, he sticks his nose in there. He's a sure tackler if he gets his hands on you, but he's undersized. Darius Slay is what he is. You don't have enough depth. I mean, and not just starters. You don't have a rotation. If somebody goes down, who's the next guy up? Marcus Epps?
Right. I mean, right now he's your starting strong safety.
Oh no. So
right now he is.
You got a problem. And even if you take your first pick, even if you take that first pick and draft a cornerback, I don't care how good he is, he still has a learning curve. He's got to get through half the games, not OTAs, not mini camps, not training camp. You still have to get through at least half the game actions before you get to that comfortable level. So you're still going to be at a deficiency, at least for the first half of the season.
Well, all right. It's not Marcus Epps isn't starting right now. Kayvon Wallace is, the kid from Clemson.
Maybe. Am I supposed to feel better now?
I just want to take that and give you a little bit of. No, I'm just playing. But no, you're right, man. You got Zach McPherson, 4th rounder. Maybe he can play. We'll never know if we don't put him in a situation where he can show what he can do. If you want to be competitive, you got to go out there and pay to be competitive these days. You can't just, think that your guys are going to go out there and make an instant impact when you don't have a defense that allows you to do that. I don't know. Darius Slay, I know Slay can play. But after that, I mean, I'm gonna give Maddox some credit also. Maddox played well.
I think he's excellent in the slot.
Yeah,
I do. I feel good about those two. I'm not worried about those two.
But then after that, you know what I'm saying? Anthony Harris, all right, he didn't underwhelm me, but he wasn't overly somebody that all right, he's great back there.
I think he's a guy. I think he's a guy, Barrett. That's what he
played very consistently. And when you don't call his name, because usually when you call a guy's name at the safety position, they're either doing wrong, especially at free safety. They're either doing wrong, they're getting beat, or they're not coming up and tackling. So evidently he's feasible back there, and he plays well enough that you don't hear his name. Slay balled out last year. You know, he showed he can play. Mattis balled out last year. He showed he can play. McPherson, towards the end of the year, he did show me a little bit, especially against Dallas. You know, he went out there man-to-man, CeeDee Lamb, and I thought he did pretty well. He handled himself pretty well. After that, you know, it's just guys. You know, Joshua Scott, you know, we got him from Jacksonville. He didn't play any. He played just a little bit of special teams. Marcus Epps came in and filled in, was consistent.
Okay. Consistently what?
I just said consistent. I didn't say he was consistently good. Consistently bad.
Okay. All right.
He was out there.
But Barrett, all these names you're throwing out, and granted, some of these are really young kids, but they're mostly depth guys. They shouldn't be starters. They shouldn't be on the front line here.
Yes, and that's the problem, you know, because we don't have really a guy to come in there and be a true starter. And we're not going to get a guy to come and play a true starter unless we get him in the draft, number one. No, we can't even say get him in the draft because Zach McPherson, we got him in the draft.
Texas Tech.
And you got all these people out there screaming about get Honey Badger, get Tyrann Mathieu in here. And there's a reason he's still out on the open market. See, because Tyrann's been in the league long enough to know the longer you're out in the open market, the more your potential earning whittles, okay? So why hasn't a team jumped on Tyrann Mathieu? I think because of two things. Age, number one, and number two, you don't know how long you're going to have him on the field.
Yep.
You know, he's a good player. Don't get me wrong. He's a good player. But you know what did they say? You can't make the club in the tub.
Right,
you know?
right.
And he's been injured. Yeah, I mean, he plays with reckless abandon. The reason he's hurt all the time is because he hits so hard and he plays with reckless abandon.
Yeah.
But I love his game. I got a lot of respect for his game, mad respect for his game. But he's not doing me any good if he's on IR.
He's one of those guys. Yeah, he's a double-edged sword, man.
Yeah,
he cuts you both ways. He cuts you when you're out there on the field and making plays, but he'll cut you when he's in the tub also.
But do you think that's the objective, guys? Like even maybe, well, I think now it's definitely going to be after the draft. See, depending on what they do, then maybe they pony up for Honey Badger if they don't go hard on a safety here.
Oh, my fault. I said Joshua. It's Josiah.
Josiah. Yeah,
let me put it like this. He won't get on the field, so it doesn't matter what I call him. He won't come anyway. So put
call him Jay Scott.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? But hey, whatever it is, but I don't care about that, bro.
Yeah, I think to answer your question, Rob, I think once the Eagles, like every other team, get through the draft and see what they have and don't have, I think that's when players like, the Honey Badger become commodities or become more wanted because teams are also saying we can drive the price down. How bad do you want to play? There was a time when you were making big money, but you're on the outside looking in now. How bad do you want to play?
He's doing that though.
Huh?
No, I don't believe that's the case, D-Gun.
You think there's a team that's going to give him big money he would have got like in the first week of free agency?
I think that he's been offered big money. He's just choosing not to go to those organizations.
I think he might have been shocked at the money he wasn't offered. Now I'm not saying he was. I'll agree with you. Yeah. I'll agree with you and say he may have been offered a decent contract, and he's probably thinking, I could get more. Now he's got to realize, I may have hurt myself financially at this stage of my career because who knows? This could be his last go around. You don't know.
But the other thing that's interesting with him is there's a lot of talk. He's LSU kid and from that area. You want to go to that Saints team's going to stink. They're going to be bad, man. And now, look, if you just want the comforts of home and all that, okay, fine, whatever. But you're probably closing out your career on a bad team. He's also going to keep that in mind. What exactly is the priority there? Is it getting paid? Is it comfort level with home? Is it the chance to win a championship? Like, obviously, he would have a good chance with the Chiefs, right? And maybe the Chiefs just said, time to move on, which should be a bit of a red flag anyway. But I feel like the Eagles view it and Howie views it as, hey, nobody else is really knocking down his door real hard, or at least he wasn't interested in those teams. Got to wait this thing out, man, and just get it down, get it down, get it down, get it down. And it just feels that way to me.
Well, that same thing happened to Nelson last year, right?
Yeah, exactly. They got him on a very cheap deal.
Yep, they got
a 1-year deal.
Same way.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. You know, he was a starter in Pittsburgh. All of a sudden, you know, he thought he was going to get more. He wanted to stay relevant. You want to stay in the league? Take what you can get on 1 year. Now he's down in Houston now, so basically he went from a mediocre team to the cesspool of the NFL right now, one of the cesspools of the NFL in Houston. But you want to stay relevant in the game, you got to suck up your pride and take what you're offered at that stage because you didn't get what you want.
Yeah. And what a weird situation too. Like Houston, they blow out David Culley, who I thought, considering what a mess the whole thing was and what a circus it was with Deshaun Watson, did a pretty good job. And they bring in Lovie Smith, who was the coordinator. They elevate Lovie Smith. Like I thought David Culley really got screwed.
I agree.
In Houston.
And I know David, and he's a good man. He's a good football man, knowledgeable football man. He was put in a bad situation to start.
Yep.
And the fact that he was only given 1 year, if I'm a coach, a potential coach, and I understand, you know, there's only 32 jobs at whatever position you're coaching at. There's only 32 of those jobs in the NFL. But I would not look at Houston as an option to build my resume, you know, because if that's how you're going to treat people, especially good people, good quality people, you know, people like David Culley have been in the football for decades and been in football for decades because, number one, they're good at what they do, teach young people, and sustainability. And when you dump on a guy like that after 1 year, he's your scapegoat after that mess you gave him. You traded away all your marquee players, and you put him in a cesspool like that, and you only gave him 1 year. If I'm another coach looking, I'm like, okay, there's instead of 32, there's 31 teams that I'm looking at instead of 32. Because that team, I want nothing to do with that team if that's how they treat your players.
Let me throw some of these names at you guys and tell me who you like, who you don't like here coming out. Let's start with corner. Sauce Gardner.
The best corner.
Your best corner. How about this, Barrett? 6'3", 190. That's got Bobby Taylor kind of size.
I love it.
Yep. Very comparable game as Bobby. I think he's a little faster than Bobby.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Any shot, he's in the neighborhood when the Eagles are picking.
Not a snowball's chance.
Fair enough. Yeah. Derek Stingley had some injury issues. Liz Frank among them at LSU didn't run a crazy great 40 time, which turns some people off. I think he's got insane talent. The
number 2 corner in this year's draft. Not a snowball's chance in Texas either.
Okay.
I think when you look at both of those corners, because I think they could go either way. You know, Stingley could go one, depending. It's going to come down to what does a team need. You know, Barrett knows this. I mean, you know, we look at these draft boards and how they slot them. He's the top corner. He's this corner. And all of a sudden you see it flip-flop. This one goes here. The reason being, coaching staffs look at what they want in a certain player: height, strength, speed, quickness, lateral pursuit, press coverage, so on and so forth. And one coach likes certain attributes about a player that another coach goes, that's okay. I love all these things about him, but he's missing this, so let's go this way. But those 2 corners, I'd be shocked if they're still on the board when the Eagles pick.
Okay.
I can almost guarantee they won't.
Yeah.
But Sauce Gardner's to me, he's a just like you said, like a Bobby Taylor, but more so like a Ike Taylor's 3rd year in the league.
Pittsburgh,
more refined Ike Taylor.
Okay. You know, I'll take either one of those 2 Taylor comps. They're both good right there. All right. Andrew Booth out of Clemson. He doesn't quite have the same size as those guys, but played obviously in a big time program and was a really good player.
He is my sleeper pick. Yeah. He is the guy to come in and be a day 1 starter. I love his enthusiasm, the way he plays the game. Very energetic. He's gonna tell you about it, why he's out there D'ing you up. He can play man to man. I mean, he's a better man to man, but he can also play zone. Come up and hit you on a run. He'll fill. He's probably a day 1 starter in wherever he goes. He's that good. I love the way he plays. I love his enthusiasm, the way he plays the game. He will be a great addition to wherever team he's in, because he's gonna come in and if not compete, more so than win the number 1 job.
Is he there? Is he there at 15? B?
Yes.
Or is he okay? You can get him there.
Yep. Yes.
Okay.
The thing is, too, when you talk about a kid like Andrew Booth, if you are a starter on a Clemson defense, you better be almost pro ready, because you look at Clemson's defenses through the years, over the last 5-6 years, man, it's a rugged defense, man. Those boys are physical on that side of the ball. And so, he has that physicality mentality. He plays in a great program that turns out great athletes, especially on defense.
Yep.
And I agree with Barrett. I think he'll be in that 15, 18, 19 slot if the Eagles decide he's their choice at that position.
All right, 2 more names I'll throw at you guys, and I want to jump to safety. And by the way, coming up in the 1 o'clock hour, James Palmer is going to be joining us from the NFL Network. All right, Trent McDuffie, the kid out of Washington. Again, not as big, but he can run, man.
He can run, but I think he's a little too stubby.
Okay.
He's not as physical. He's used to running. He's used to running and shadowing guys. He's not going to come in and be a shutdown corner, but he'll shadow everybody. He's not going to have a lot of big plays on him. He can, he'll come in, he'll compete, but I just don't think his arms are long enough that he could handle, the physicality of playing like against Dallas, with CeeDee Lamb and those guys. He'll play off of him. You're not going to run past him. He'll be there to make the play. He'll make the tackle, but I don't think he's going to go up and make a lot of plays, big plays, and knocking the ball down or anything like that. But he's not going to get beat deep. He's not going to get beat a lot of the times. He's going to be right there, tit for tat with whoever he's playing against. But to me, he's just not one of those cornerbacks, as you would say, all right, I'm going to draft you in the first and you're going to be a day one starter.
All right, one more. Roger McCreary, the kid out of Auburn. I'm just giving you some select guys that I like, but I'm sure a lot of others that may be there later too. But McCreary, you guys, any interest in him? Like him at all?
I do like him, but I don't like him as a first round.
Okay, later.
Yeah, he's a second. Yep.
All right, let's go safety then. You want to go safety, Gunner? Let's jump over to safety.
Just real quick, when you talk about McDuffie, I think of Sidney Jones.
Okay.
I think of Sidney Jones. First of all, anybody coming out of Washington, I'm a little suspect of him.
Yeah.
To begin
I hear you, man. I'm the same way.
If it's not Buda Baker, I don't want him.
But for every one they get it right out of Washington, there's 10 more that you go, dang it, why did I make that pick? So
well, I hear you with that. All right, so safety, the obviously the most touted guy is Kyle Hamilton, and I don't think he's going to be there at 15, even though that I think that position is devalued a little bit in the draft. I don't think he's going to be there. Would they? He's sitting there maybe at 12. Would they try and make him 12? Move?
And I'm thinking hard and long and say yes, because I love Harrison Smith. Harrison Smith has been in the league 10, 12 years, and he's been one of the most reliable safeties in the league. You need a big play, he's going to get it to you. A Notre Dame guy. I like the way he plays the game. Now, he ran a 4.5 40. There are defensive linemen running 4.5 40 these days.
Yep.
But you got to pass the eye test. On the field, what he does, you just can't ignore that. He might have had a bad day. He may have ate some bad pizza or something the day before, and he just wasn't feeling right when he ran the 40. That might be the case. He plays faster than 4.5, and it's going to drop him, but it might be right there to make him obtainable for the Eagles to draft him.
Okay. All right. Daxton Hill, the kid out of Michigan, who a lot of people, by the way, Hamilton's 6'4", 220, just to put in perspective. He is a big cat. Daxton Hill out of Michigan, he's a 6-footer again. You got Lewis Sine, the kid out of Georgia, who we touched on yesterday. He's bigger, 6'2", 200. And then you got Jaquan Brisker, kid out of Penn State, who a lot of people in this area like a lot. He's got decent size too. He's 6'1", 199. Any of those names do anything for you guys?
Yes, yes.
Lewis Sine, who did he play for?
Yeah,
Georgia.
There you go. What I tell you?
I got them dogs.
I don't care if it's a punter. I'm drafting the punter out of Georgia. I don't care. They play for Georgia. He's on my football team.
Especially on the defensive side.
Yes.
All right.
And you look at the wealth of talent that team had.
Woof.
I'm telling you. I think this year's Georgia team is similar to that Clemson team when they had 3 defensive linemen drafted in the first round.
Yeah.
I think Georgia's team at the D-line, linebacker, back end have some quality talent across the board. Mm-hmm. If you wore the Georgia logo on your helmet, there's a possibility I could be picking you.
All right, how about you?
Come on, man. Scene is probably the second or third best safe. No, he'll be the second best safety in this draft. Like you said, he's sometimes you look at a guy playing in the defense like that, and those guys up front just make things too easy for you. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be a baller playing, when you got guys rushing the passer like he has up front.
Right.
So, but a safety nobody's really talking about and that I really, really enjoy watching is Jalen Petrie from Baylor.
From Baylor? Yeah.
The kid played outside linebacker. He played safety. He played a little corner. He could play anywhere. I think he's like a hybrid mixture of Malcolm Jenkins and Jalen what's his name? The Green Goblin.
Yeah.
From here.
Mills.
Jalen Mills. He's that type of player, man. He's gonna come up, he's gonna fill on a run. He can cover in the slot receivers. He can also cover tight ends and running backs out in the backfield. He is a prototypical box safety that does everything and will be around the ball. He's another sleeper at the safety position. You could probably pick him up in the second round or maybe even the third round. But I love the way that kid plays. Okay.
All right. Anybody else jump out at you?
Let me see. There was one more kid that I liked. Nick Cross from Maryland. We're talking about a free safety. Now, this guy's a single high safety and has speed for days, has the size you want from a safety. He's going to be an imposing type of safety, has the gun show and all that, but he runs like a 4-3 playing the safety position. You put him back there, you ain't got to worry about anybody beating him deep. But once, he gets a track on the ball, he's going to go get it or he's going to knock you out. So Nick Cross is a guy that a lot of people are talking about who's moving up the draft board.
Okay. All right. Let's do this. Get a timeout. Come back. We're going to keep the football talk rolling. James Palmer from the NFL Network is going to join us. He's going to be stationed in Philly next week, concentrating on the Birds. We'll talk to him about what he's hearing around the league, what he's hearing for the Eagles. A little later in the show, guys, we're going to run through the top order here. The 1 through 14 leading up to the Birds. See who we think Jacksonville, Detroit, Houston, whatever, the Jets, who they may end up taking and who could still be there for the Eagles. We are Sports Take. You're watching us on JAKIB Media YouTube Network.